Welcome, everyone. We're back again, and this time we've got a special guest. Long time no see. Here he is, DM for Far Beyond the Void, a crit and miss adventure. Sven, how you doing, buddy?
I'm very well. Thank you for having me on.
Hey, man, we've been wanting to have on for a while now because, mate, you're a really fun guy. All right, Sven, you want to take us through what spells do you pick up as a Circle of Spores Druid?
Alrighty, so circle spells for the Circle of Spores Druid subclass. Your symbiotic link to a fungi and your ability to tap into the cycle of life and death grants you access to certain spells. At second level, you learn the Chill Touch cantrip. You also learn some more additional spells at higher levels. At third level, you get Blindness, Deafness, and Gentle Repose. At fifth level, you get Animate Dead and Gaseous Form. At seventh level, you get Blight and Confusion. And at ninth level, you get Cloud Kill and Contagion.
They're all on theme. That's like all the other spells. They're all greatly themed. I mean, none of them are big hitters, but there's some great advantage spells here. I mean, if you're not... Blindness, Deafness can really come in handy if you've got an archer or a mage in the back and you just need to take them out of the game for a little while. I think because you get it so early. I mean, I would have normally gone Contagion because that's wild, but I think Blindness, Deafness is the one because you get it early and you can use it pretty quickly.
One spell that I do like the look of is Gaseous Form.
Mm-hmm.
Gaseous Form has, again, when I look at spells, I look at more than just how they can be applied in combat situations. I look at how they can be applied in a wide range of situations. In Gaseous Form, I mean, who doesn't want to turn into a cloud of gas and creep under a door frame or something like that? It can be useful in so many situations. So I'm just going to go with that one.
Mm-hmm. What do you got, Mitch?
Definitely Contagion. Contagion is one of the most adaptable spells and also one of the most brutals in many scenarios. Bringing your attention, which I'll bring up later when I talk about builds, the choice of Flesh Rot, which is one of the curses.
Hey, second level, you also pick up Halo of Spores. So you are surrounded by invisible necrotic spores that are harmless until you unleash them on a creature nearby. When a creature you can see moves to a space within 10 feet of you or starts its turn there, you can use your reaction to deal 1d4 necrotic damage to that creature unless it succeeds a con saving throw against your spell save DC. These damages also, or the dice size also increases. The necrotic damage will increase to d6 at 6th level, d8 at 10th, and a d10 at 14th level. What does this do for you, Mitch?
Obviously, free damage on using maximizing your action economy. The way this works is with your symbiotic entity. So at second level, you also gain the ability to channel magic into your spores, and as an action, expend those to use your wild shape feature, awaken those spores, and take in an awesome beast form of mushrooms and stuff, which gives you 4 temporary hits for each level in this class. And then while it's active, you gain these benefits, and this is why I bring it up because it works with Halo of Spores. When you deal your Halo of Spores damage, roll the damage die a second time and add it to the total. So at second level, that will be 2d4.
That's that reaction ability, yeah.
Yep.
So those paired together do start to add up, and the fact that you're getting to do that as in a reaction on approach, because how many times do you hit someone down to like 3 hit points and then they come up and hit you and knock you down? So it's free damage on approach. The other thing that Symbiotic Entity gives you is melee weapon attacks now get an added 1d6 to any target they hit.
Necrotic. And it's good they went necrotic as opposed to poison. Because necrotic has just got a lot less things that are resistant to it. But the one thing is this only lasts as long as your temporary hit points are up, 10 minutes, or until you use your wild shape again to do something different.
10 minutes is a long time, though. So it is
2-3 fights if you're storming through things, yeah.
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 So Archie, take fungal infestation.
I'll take it as far as I can carry it. So in fungal infestation, we pick up at 6th level. Your spores gain the ability to infest a corpse and animate it. If a beast or humanoid that is small or medium dies within 10 feet of you, you can use your reaction to animate it, causing it to stand up immediately with 1 hit point. The creature uses the zombie stat block from the monster manual. It remains animated for 1 hour, after which time it collapses and dies. In combat, they take their turns immediately after yours, so no bonus actions, and it obeys your mental commands, so you don't have to speak to it, and the only action it can take is an attack action, and making 1 melee attack. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier, minimum 1, I'd hope it'd be at least 3, and you regain all these after you finish all the expended uses after you get a long rest. So this is great at this level. It adds flanking, it adds more things coming to the party, it will stack really well if someone else has healing and other abilities, so they also are getting topped up as well. But I don't think it's absolutely fantastic because it doesn't keep scaling as you keep leveling up. At level 14, it won't be that strong anymore. What do you guys reckon?
Yeah, I have to agree with you there again. Like I said earlier, it comes down to are you using it in combat or are you using it in roleplay sort of situations? In roleplay situations, it can continue to be useful as long as you are creative, which, hopefully you are if you're playing in Dungeons and Dragons.
Yep.
They generally tend to be a creative bunch of people.
Sven, tell us about some spreading spores. How do you spread spores in this game?
You spend the night out in town.
Oh, yeah.
No, spreading spores. You gain the ability to seed an area with deadly spores. As a bonus action, while your symbiotic entity feature is active, you can hurl spores up to 30 feet away, where they swirl in a 10-foot cube for 1 minute. The spores disappear early if you use this feature again, if you dismiss them as a bonus action, or if your symbiotic entity feature is no longer active. Whenever a creature moves into the cube or starts its turn there, the creature takes your halo of spores damage, unless the creature succeeds on a constitution saving throw against your spell save DC. A creature can take this damage no more than once per turn, and while the cube of spores persists, you can't use your halo of reaction. So, something to keep in mind right there.
In a futuristic campaign, you press the elevator, the door opens, you go, oh, I'll get the next one. Bugs!
One element of this is the previous ability used your reaction. It says you can no longer do that, but the spreading spores ability now uses no action whatsoever. If a creature enters that area or spends its turn there, it can take that damage, which again frees up your reaction if you have some type of reaction that you can use. So it extends your action economy just slightly. Just slightly.
Fungal body, Mitch. Capstone.
So, yeah. So 14th level, you got fungal spores in your body. They change what you like. You can no longer be blinded, deafened, frightened, or poisoned. And any critical hit against you counts as a normal hit instead, unless you're incapacitated.
Yeah.
Again,
that's
another
ridiculous.
great way.
That's not even while in fungal form.
Another great way to ruin your DM's day is to let them think that they're going to score a critical hit and be like, nah, actually, you can't score a critical hit on me.
Yeah. This is like 3 or 4 magic items rolled into one for free.
Yes.
That's ridiculous.
So, boys, we've covered off on the abilities. Now, let's summarize. What do you like and what don't you like about this whole class? Is it where is its strengths? Where is its weaknesses, Sven?
Strengths and weaknesses. Where I find this particular subclass is strong is obviously you have quite a broad range of roleplay opportunities, but then again, if you're creative, you have that in 90% of subclasses, so that's no surprise. In combat, of course, being able to utilize your reaction to deal extra damage, I find that to be a strength. Where it falls down, I have to agree with you, is its combat effectiveness at higher levels. So once you start breaching the 10th level and onwards, those, like you said, those zombies, their efficacy starts to drop. So that might be where it starts to fall down for some people. But I've always been a roleplay person. I've never really been about combat. So really, there's no weakness here. Not as far as I'm concerned.
That's fair enough. I think this subclass definitely has crazy Nova potential. If you want to do a large amount of damage really quickly, there you've always got something to do. The action economy is just insane. You generally will have a bonus action, an action, and a reaction every single turn. Whereas, like I've played alongside fighters and clerics that if they miss their attack, that's kind of it for another hour, which is very painful. Like I feel sorry when that happens, and I wish there was more to do it. And this is the solution. The bad side of this, pretty much what Sven said at the start. It can clog up a game if you're not on point with your rolls and ready to go when the DM asks for it or when you say it. It can really, like, if you're adding an extra minute or two to roll 1 or 2 dice on other people's turns, that does add up over a game, over a campaign. I'd probably look at ways to minimize that. But yeah, strength-wise, the Nova potential with some of these spells, with some of the abilities, is just insane.
Okay. Sven, you've played this before. Tell us about your character.
Alrighty, this is when we get into the meat and potatoes of it. Yes. So I played a Circle of Spores Druid for a one-shot, so I didn't really get to use the character as much as I would have liked, but for that one-shot, you know, I had the added benefit of having a good DM, which is always great if they allow you to really dive into the not only the mechanics but also the sort of role play situations that you can come up with. And I played a half orc Circle of Spores Druid called Hulbeck Limrender. And for all intents and purposes, he was a cultist of Zugutmoy. So he was I can't remember, I think it was neutral evil, I believe. But going down that evil path with the Circle of Spores Druid is just such a... When you read it in the book, if you look at the artwork that is associated with it, you can tell that they were trying to go more along the path of sort of that Fey sort of idea, but going along a really dark path. And the backstory that I wrote for this character was very, very dark. And it made for a character that was very, very deep. Beyond just this is a character who's evil for the sake of being evil, because I got to dive into the idea of what if he's not fully in control of what's happening to him because he's been infected by these spores from a demon. His actions, he may believe, are his choices, but he's being secretly influenced. The way that an ant that's been infected by what's that fungus called again?
I know the zombie fungus you're talking about that takes over bugs and things like that.
Ophiocordyceps unilateralitis or something.
That's the one, the cordyceps.
My God.
Creepy, right?
D&D is real.
D&D is real. Confirmed. Confirmed.
For my character concept, I played a level 8, but I did a reborn. Unfortunately, a lot of the abilities doubled up over top of the Spore Druid, so I didn't get full out of everything, so I probably could have gone something different. But I like the idea that the reborn being brought back to life to do a quest. Well, mine was actually... The reborn is the glove. I'm full of fungus, and much like this, when you finally get to your final ability at level 14 with your fungal body, I'm full of just spores, and they're controlling me, much like a character made of ants or bees or something like that. We are all one sort of thing.
So my build that I actually went with was my first multi-class build on one of these clips. So I had to do it because I thought the way it worked together was beautiful. So I went with a level 8 Spore Druid with level 3 Way of Mercy Monk because I like the idea of doing Hand of Heal with the spores. So you're actually going up and hitting them. And this also gives us our burst potential with Nova. So I'm going to quickly increase that to a level 9 Druid. Otherwise, you can't get Contagion.
Yep.
So the Contagion spell goes off. You run in, do some attacks, or they move towards you. You do your attack. That's going with Flesh Rot. That's doubling your, at the moment, it would be D6, is it?
What level are you?
Level 9.
You're level 9? Level
So,
9?
yeah, D6
Yes,
still.
you're still on D6.
So D6. So if you're an entity, that's 2D6. Then if it's Contagion on, that's 4D6. Then on your turn, you attack, bonus attack, re-attack, and with your feat, where you took Hunter's Mark,
I did.
you are now doing an extra, what is it? 1d6 from Hunter's Mark, 1d6, 2d6 from Halo of Spores, and then Way of the Mercy Monk, you're doing an additional d4 and another 5. So you could easily clear 150 with this in a turn, which is ridiculous. And it's also very thematic and cool.
What do players need to take into consideration, team, when they're thinking about this sort of a character? What's going to be important to them to make sure they're making a something that's going to work?
So the reason I went with Monk is, one, once you get your 3 levels of Monk, or actually 2 levels of Monk, you get the ability to deflect missiles. Now, this is very important for getting into close range, because once you get those ranged attacks, you'll be able to redirect them and reduce the damage, which means you lose less temporary hit points, which means your fungal form's up for longer.
Yep.
For me, I think what's important, because I'm not really much of a multi-classer, generally speaking, just because I'm really lazy. I don't like to think about things. What I would suggest keeping in mind is what spells, being smart about what spells that you have available to you and how you can utilize those, as well as the party makeup that you are traveling with at any one time, who is capable of doing what, and does it work well with how you've spec'd your particular character. That's pretty much it.
Yep.
Really.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
I was looking into the same things, Sven. I was thinking, like, if you can get classes that can keep boosting temporary hit points, once your 20, 40, 50 temporary hit points starts getting down low, there's some other classes that might just keep it from dropping down to 0, such as Artillery Starter Fighters, Protector Cannon, Circle of Druid Circle of Druids Totem feature, or Twilight Cleric's Divine Channel Divinity feature. They just keep boosting. Yep. Now, if you're up at 40 hit points, temporary hit points, you're not going to have to worry about that. But when you get down low, to stop it from falling away and you losing your abilities, these would come in handy. Another build I saw a fella talking about, he went the Turtle, and level 1 with a shield, he had 19 AC. Level 2, you've got, a reasonable amount of hit points, plus you pop your temporary hit points, and your melee is doing really well at low levels. You can do quite good, but you will have to start stepping away to caster, as I was saying earlier, at 5th level. And as I was talking about earlier, probably a good understanding of where exactly you stand on the cycle of life and what death and life actually is, and where one stops and the other starts, potentially might be worth leaning into with your character and seeing how far you can take that.
Yeah, and if you are open to it, definitely look into the 3 Kreen and the Plasmoid races. 3 Kreen obviously get really thematic stuff and communicate through mind imagery and buffed AC. And the Plasmoids are just really cool with the idea of spores.
Yeah.
No, can we call them Spoids now? I like that.
I'm going to, 100%. I was working on Spoids for the auto drone, sort of they're called, to be bids. And then I was like, voids for the spores.
No,
But yeah,
I dig it, and that's from Luke. I think that's a really good advice too, because that will influence how you play the character, their position on how life and death and how their spores and fungus relates to that will influence their moral outlook on life. And really, that's what's so great about this, is you have such a wide range that you can play lawful good, for instance, or chaotic evil, and anything anywhere in between.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
How about for DMs? You've got one of these guys in your campaign. How can you make sure you give these guys their moments and don't cripple them too much? Mitch?
I think working around those temporary hit points and explaining to people how temporary hit points work is very important. Deciding on it early and not going backwards and forwards, because I could just see this at the start when it's low levels. They won't mind when you cast heroism and you're getting, because temporary hit points aren't meant to stack. They're not. You're meant to choose one or the other. You're not meant to have both of them. I could see someone that once they get to like level 9 or 10, and these hit points have gone from being 8 up to,
36.
20, 30 hit points. All of a sudden, the DM's having trouble killing them, and they start casting heroism on themselves and getting hit points every turn and standing in hit point. So make the call early, make it clear, concise, make sure everyone agrees to what you're doing, and then go for it. Like, if you want to allow it and have fun, do it. Just don't backtrack on it and hurt your players. Because I would just let them do it because it's cool.
Okay.
Sven, how do you get the most out of this for a player? How do you let them get the most?
As a DM, I'm always about challenging players. So obviously that golden rule applies, is talk to your player and understand their character. Watch how they develop that character, and then find a way to challenge them, because they will find that they will fall into a particular type of role. Then flip that on its head and make them think and dig deeper into the way the Circle of Spores Druid can work. They can only use their reaction at a 10-foot radius. All of a sudden, make the ranged combat start to happen. Make them start to think about that. I think that's really probably the most important thing. And also, I would, if someone is playing a Circle of Spores Druid, give them the opportunities to explore those things that we talked about the morality of the difference between life and death and how they relate to each other. That is a big running theme with the Circle of Spores Druid. So if you don't have an occasion where they're able to explore that, I think you're just shooting yourself in the foot. So add something for them to be able to explore that. If they raise a zombie, find a creative way of making them think about the morality of raising someone from the dead as a spore zombie for an hour. So, creativity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm also thinking potentially bring out myconoid civilizations. See if they want to interact, join, and then liaise with myconoids, mushroom men, and see if that's something they enjoy getting into. Realize that those temporary hit points at low levels could go real quick. Like, he's got to use his action to activate his spore. He's a symbiotic entity at level 2. He's got 8 hit points. If you target him straight away and take it away from him before he's done anything, it's going to be a little bit disappointing. Like, yeah, if he's done it stupidly, like, you got to teach him a lesson. But if you ain't picking up, like, have a chat with him about, listen, mate, like, you got to activate it. Maybe it can last for 10 minutes. So if you know you're going into combat, if you get the chance to scout, give them those abilities, because otherwise he wastes a go around just activating his thing, and then you hit him with 3 arrows and you just drop his temporary hit points. He's just like, well, the hell with me anyway, yeah. So yeah, guide their hand a little bit as to how to use it smartly, so they're not wasting that ability, because it can run out real quick on them. But luckily, they do get a few goes at it, so over a day, so they can hopefully learn from their mistakes and come back. Other than that, I think definitely testing all those abilities. giving them a chance to role play out the spores, ask them how the spells work, get them to bring it out. And if they're a little bit quiet at the table, you'll see them shine when they start talking about exactly how is it a creepy thing or is it a cute little mushroom girl thing? Like, how do you want to play? How are you playing your Druid?
Yes. Yeah, we touched up. I touched upon that. Yeah, you can play it all cutesy and little red mushrooms with white dots on them, or you can play it super creepy with these sort of creepy fungal infections that grow out of the side of someone's neck with ooze dripping out of them or something like that. So you can go either way with it, which is what I really liked and what I really capitalized on when I played old Hulbeck Limrender. Good times.
Sven, thanks for joining us. You got time to tell us quickly what you've been up to?
Yeah, of course. If you don't already know, as the wonderful Mitch already said, I am the Dungeon Master for Far Beyond the Void, which of course you can catch every Saturday at 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on Twitch. That is www.twitch.tv/crit_n_miss. Of course, we also run Forces of Nature, which is our Call of the Netherdeep campaign, and that is every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, and we have another campaign coming up very soon. But if you want to check that out, again, check us out on Twitch or on Instagram or on Facebook, and you can find our podcasts everywhere. Yep.
Links down in the doobly-doo below. All right, thanks, mate. Thanks for joining us. Was appreciated. We have saved this class. We're just waiting on it for you to finally grace us with your presence. And
Well,
any of you want to say goodnight?
No, guys.
good night, everybody. Keep being awesome. Keep rolling natural 20s, and we'll see you tomorrow night for Forces of Nature.
Join us for more episodes on this, for more of your subclass reviews, and catch us later.
And don't forget to see Wild Beyond the Witchlight, which oh wait, no, I'm not fucking on it.